Alright guys, here we have the first project. It is a Suzuki RM85 big wheel, and I believe it is a 2004. Now as you can see, it's pretty rough. It's definitely gonna need a few things. It's missing things as well. Now when I went to pick this bike up, the seller told me that it needed piston rings, which let me show you here. Definitely needs a piston or piston rings, and it definitely needs a lot of work. The plastics are pretty okay. Tires have very good thread. It does have pro taper bars and a unbreakable lever and some grips. Now on the downside, it is missing a whole bunch of things, like the brake pedal pegs are missing, coolant leaks, the oil drain plug is very messed up. I'll show you guys that later. The foam is just gone, peg is gone, the compression is low, it has no brakes at all. It's messed up. But we should go ahead and start tearing into this thing. Now that we have the bike in the garage, we can start tearing everything down so we can get the engine out and diagnose what's wrong with it. But as you can see, it still has the OEM carb, which is good. Looks like stock reeds, head's very clean, looks like stock head. Yeah, the whole engine looks clean. Let's start tearing this bike down. We can just take off the seat because it isn't even on the bike. You can see this part's just broken on, and it doesn't have a screw to hold it onto here. And even the little thing it slides on is non-existent. And of course, it has no air filter. And now the gas tank doesn't have any screws holding onto it, as you can see. So we can just take it off with removing this little clip. We can go ahead and disconnect the only thing holding onto the gas tank. And then we can remove the gas line from the carb. And now we can take off the gas tank from the bike freely. We can see everything that's going on. Looks pretty clean. Let's take off the side panel so we can take off the pipe. And we're also gonna drain the coolant so we can take off the hoses and the radiator. We have the pipe out, stock pipe. Doesn't look too bad. Let's put it to the side. Now let's get these springs out so we can take out the pipe. Okay, got the springs. You also have to take off this little bolts. Looks like a 10. Yep. Alright guys, we took off the pipe, OEM pipe. Looks okay. Let's put it to the side. Let's go ahead and take off the coolant. Guaranteed it's this one. There we go. Let's go ahead and open the radiator cap. If it wants to open. No, it's not even on right. As you can see, it's stuck. Yep, pry it. There we go. There we go. Alright guys, so as you can see, we drained almost basically all of the coolant. But let's go ahead and take this pipe out because I know it has some in it. So let's loosen this clamp up. Should be good. And let's take it off. Yep. Ooh. That doesn't look too good. It's not oil. It's just black coolant, which is a little strange. We can just keep this hose off because we're going to take the engine out anyway. Alright guys, let's take off the radiator. First we need to take off the radiator cover. Yep, that one came off. There we go. Should come off. There we go. Have the radiator guard off. We should take off this hose first so the radiator can come off. There we go. These are the bolts hanging onto the radiator, so we can just take them out. Let's take this bolt off. Let's take this hose off. Should be good. Just twist it. They like to get stuck. Now that we took off the radiator and the plastic guard off the bike, we can now take this hose out and take off the spark plug connector so we can take the motor out. There we go. And that's a flathead. Perfect. It's on there. Should like so. Just like that. Alright, so we have to disconnect the accelerator cable from the carb. And just unscrew this. This was stuck in there. I think it wasn't put right. Now we need to disconnect it from the car boot. Let's try to use a screwdriver. There we go. All we have to do is disconnect it and the carb should come off with the motor. And we also need to take off this motor mount. You should be able to hit it. So now let's push this big screw motor mount out. Boom. Let's take it out from the other side. Big motor mount. Let's put the nut back on. Alright guys, to remove the motor from the frame, we do have to take out the clutch, this cable that connects the stator with the CDI box, and we have to take out the chain. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's take off clutch. There we go, and we can unplug this. And let's go take off the chain. Let's take off the master link. Let's take it off. There we go. Alright, chain's off. We disconnected the chain, let's pull it out. We gotta take off the reservoir to the back brake because it blocks off the carb. There we go. Now let's see if the engine comes out. Engine came out nicely. It's pretty heavy, so let's set it down. Alright, so I did forget to check if the engine has spark, so I went ahead and put it back in just to check so I could connect the cable. And we're about to check if it has spark right now. Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, we have spark. Looks like pretty good spark. We have the engine out now on the table, and as you can see, the drain plug is just completely messed up. You can see all of this whole spot is just JB welded. Who knows what the damage is? This looks to be the only part that stayed on. The rest is just JB weld, so oil was leaking out of there, and we're gonna see how we can fix that, but let's start disassembling the top end. We are going to take the carb off the bike, and we're also gonna be taking off the reeds later, but as you can see, it's still the original K-Hin carb. Looks pretty good. It wasn't leaking any gas, but we're definitely gonna open it up and clean it to make sure it doesn't cause any problems. Let's go ahead and take the cylinder head off so we can see what the piston looks like. Now, it did have spark, which is a good thing, and the spark plug doesn't look too bad. As you can see, it looks pretty dark, but in the middle where it makes spark, it's pretty dark brown. So that's a good thing. I did go ahead and loosen these nuts because they were pretty tight. Alright, nuts are off, let's pull it out. The top looks okay. Need a little cleaning. Has a couple nicks, but shouldn't cause any problems. We can now inspect the piston. As you can see, it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't have that much carbon buildup. I don't know if you can see, but it definitely has play in there, so rings are definitely out, and the gaskets are just very bad on it. But let's go ahead and open up the power valve. This is the power valve, and in fact, I have never worked on a two-stroke with a power valve, so let's check it out. Okay, now that we have them loosened, I'm going to take them out with the screwdriver a little faster. There's one. Last one. Alright. Little spring came out. I don't think that's good, but let's take it out. Okay. I don't know if it's supposed to be that loose, but it's smooth. We can go ahead and loosen this up, which is also holding up the cylinder head. After a few taps, I was able to loosen the nut. Get it off. Before we do, let's disconnect the power valve so we can actually take the cylinder out. There we go. Alright, put that to the side. Let's take this. Alright, it's disconnected. Let's go ahead and take off all the nuts so we can take off the cylinder and check the piston along with the rings, the cylinder, and the crankshaft. I'm hoping that the crankshaft doesn't have up and down play. I forgot to say that you do have to take the linkage out. You just have to like basically pull it off and it will come out, because it wouldn't fit through the hole, so you have to take it out. Now we have to take these last two nuts off so we can pull out the cylinder. And now this one. Alright, now we should be able to pull the cylinder out. There it goes. Alright, cylinder's off. Alright, now let's take out the wrist pins so we can inspect the piston. Make sure to be careful so it doesn't jump out. Alright. Let's take out the wrist pin from the other side. Alright, it's off. Now that we've taken the circlips out, let's pull the wrist pin so we can inspect the piston. Alright, wrist pin is off. Let's check the piston. As you can see, the ring is just very bad. Piston is just scorched everywhere. It's very messed up. Definitely gonna need a new ring, new piston, some gaskets, but most importantly, let's check the rod. Okay, so the crankshaft seems to be okay. As you can see, it does have a little side-to-side play, but up and down play does not exist, which is great, meaning we won't have to replace that. But we will be opening up the reeds, making sure they're good, and we're going to be opening up the carb, and we're going to check the cylinder to make sure it's not too scratched up. And we're also going to be taking the ring out and checking how bad the ring gap is inside the cylinder. Alright, so if we take a look at the cylinder, it looks pretty good. If we take a look inside, it is a little scratched up, and on the other side. But if I rub my fingernail across the cylinder, it doesn't catch on any of the scratches. And on this side as well. So we should be good to go. And I'm going to go ahead and measure the cylinder to make sure we order the correct size piston. And it should be around 48. Yeah, 48. So we're going to be ordering the stock piston for it. Now, let's go ahead and check the ring gap. Alright, so the ring on the piston was stuck on there, but I was able to loosen it. But let's go ahead and take it off the piston so we can measure how bad that gap really is. Alright, and it's off. Now let's go ahead and put it in the cylinder. In order to check the ring gap, you want to get the ring and put it in the cylinder. And then you want to grab the piston and put it on there so it's flat. As you can see, the gap is absolutely terrible. No wonder it had no compression. It's a huge gap. So yeah, we're definitely gonna need a piston and rings, but let's go ahead and check the reeds. Let's go ahead and unscrew these so we can check the reeds out. Alright, we have all the bolts out. Let's check out the carb boot. Carb boot looks really good, has no cracks or nothing. Let's put them to the side and check the reeds out. Reeds look very good. They do not look open at all, so they should not be giving us any problems, but let's try to shine some light through them. Nope. These reeds are perfect, so let's go ahead and put them back. So here we have the carb, and it only has 2 screws holding the bowl. So let's go ahead and unscrew those. All right, there's the first one. Let's go ahead and open up the carb, see what the inside looks like. Ooh, that doesn't look too good. It's dirty right here. So that means the jets are probably clogged. So let's go ahead and take them out and see what they look like. Let's go ahead and take out the jets to make sure they're not clogged so they don't give us any problems in the future once we put the bike together and try to start it. Let's check this little jet. Yep, looks clogged, so we're gonna need some compressed air. Now let's check the main jet. They're both probably gonna be clogged up, which is okay. Let's check the main jet. Nope, main jet looks good. So we're just gonna need to clean out the little one. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we're gonna be spraying the whole carb with some WD-40 and some compressed air to clean it up. I don't have any brake cleaner, so WD-40 is gonna have to do. Oh yeah, that's nice and clean now. I saw some WD-40 shoot out. Let's check it. Yep, clean. Let's put it to the side. Now let's clean out the little bowl. You can just scratch this stuff. Okay, let's spray some WD-40. Yeah. As you can see, yep. Got all the dirty stuff. Let's get the corners. Make sure this thing is clean so it doesn't clog up. Let's spray it with some air. Oh yeah, it looks a lot better. Yep, the bowl looks pretty clean now. Now let's blow out the carb. This jet was good. Let's blow it out anyway. Yeah. It's good. Alright, now the carb should be clean. Let's go ahead and put it back together. So now that we cleaned up the carb, we can go ahead and put it back together. We cleaned out this jet. Now it's nice and clear. So let's put it back in. Okay, that's all the way in. Let's make sure the main jet's tight. Alright, it's all good. Now let's go ahead and put the bowl, which is much cleaner now. Yep, fits good. Now let's put the screws back in. Alright, carb is put back together. It should be good to go now. We cleared it out, so it should be clean and it shouldn't be giving us any problems. So we just got done tearing down the RM85 motor, and the crank had no up and down play. The reeds are in great shape. The cylinder is pretty good. It has no major deep scratches, and the crosshatch is good. We also checked the bike for spark, and it has great spark. And we just cleaned out the carb, so it should be getting gas now because it was indeed dirty. The cylinder head has a few nicks, but that should be no issues. And the only issue we found was the piston. As you can see, it's really scratched up, and the ring was just super worn down. So it was about time it needed a new top end. And we also need to fix the oil drain plug. But once we get that sorted out, this bike should be good to go. But I'm going to go ahead and order the new piston, and I'll see y'all in the next episode.